Labour Party leadership crisis rages on as uncertainty hovers on the affairs of the party after Lamidi Apapa took over the arms of affairs. Tension in the post-election in Nigeria grows. How does the nation unite with the division left by the outcome of the exercise? Hello everyone, happy Good Friday to all of our Christian brothers and sisters, wherever you may be watching. Welcome to the program. This is a Good Friday edition of Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale in Abuja. Let's begin on a very calm and a very good note tonight, where we'll be giving you some perspectives on what is happening in respect of the leadership of the Labour Party in Nigeria. There's been court orders, and those who have said they are now taking over the arm of affairs of the party. Lamidi Apapa is the man who says he's now the new leader of the party. But Mr. Julius Abure, the national chairman, says that is not correct. We'll be hearing and learning some of what are the undercurrent, the issues happening in the Labour Party. It looks to me that is beyond what we are seeing on the surface. We might be getting some details tonight on the program, so stick around with me, everyone. We'll give you insight into all of those. Plus, we'll be getting some perspectives on how can Nigeria get together, unite, in what has become a major disunity that has been caused in the aftermath of the election. The election of 2023 has caused a major cleavage and divided Nigerians across religious and ethnic lines. But how can we move this nation forward as much as those who have their eyes in the courtroom and challenging the outcome of the elections are still doing all of those activities? Well, we get to all of that tonight. But first and foremost, let's check out your political roundup story. Skella is here to give us those details.
Thank you, Seun. Good evening. I am Kayla Magwa, and these are your political roundup stories for today. The governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, insists that religious bias cannot break the bond of unity in Nigeria. However, he maintains that the leadership class has a big role to play in developing the country through governance and not inciting people using religious sentiments. Governor Obaseki was speaking after having breakfast with the Muslim faithful at the palace of the Otaru of Auchi Kingdom, Alhaji Ali Rumomo Ikelebe III in Auchi, Esako West local government area of Edo State.
Us being here tonight, myself and the deputy, shows that in Edo State, we do not see that religious divide.
The Supreme Court has dismissed the appeal filed by the candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Segun Oni, challenging the election of Biodun Oyebanji of the All Progressives Congress at the Ekiti State governorship election. After hearing his appeal, Justice Mohammed Datijo, who led a 5-man panel of justices, unanimously dismissed the appeal for lacking in merit and held that the fuller reason for the decision will be given at a later date. Meanwhile, Mr. Biodun Oyebanji has hailed the verdict of the Supreme Court that reaffirmed his election as the governor of Ekiti State. Governor Oyebanji, in a chat with journalists in Ado Ekiti, describes the verdict as a victory for democracy, a reward for the electorate, and an added respect for the judiciary as an umpire for justice. The governor insists that his respect for former Governor Oni remains intact, calling on the SDP candidate to join him to develop the state, having explored all judicial processes available.
He has exhibited his right as permitted by the Constitution, but now the case is closed, so all of us have to come together to develop our states.
Hundreds of youth in Bayelsa State today embarked on a solidarity walk in honor of the electoral victory of the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate in the February 25th presidential election. Chairman of the All Progressives Congress in Bayelsa State, Mr. Dennis Otiotio, used the occasion to invite members of the party in the state to come together and work for the victory of the APC in the coming state governorship election.
We are gladdened by the fact that we won the presidency.
The governorship candidate of the Social Democratic Party in the 2023 governorship election in Delta State, Mr. Kenneth Gbagi, says all the 16 other candidates who contested in the last governorship election were not qualified to have participated in the polls, and that the exercise was not conducted in accordance with the guidelines of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Mr. Kenneth Gbagi was speaking to journalists after filing a 79-page petition to the 2023 governorship, national and state houses of assembly election petition tribunal at the State High Court in Asaba.
Food being cooked for people, wrappers being bought for them, all of those are part of what the Electoral Act has spelled out to be a crime. So at the end of the day, my petition has encompassed all of that.
Also from Ogun State, the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the March 18 governorship election, Ladi Adebutu, has formally filed a petition before the Electoral Petition Tribunal seeking an order declaring him as the winner of the election. This step is being taken apparently to fight alleged malpractices which he claims returned the incumbent governor Dakpo Abiodun for another 4-year term of office. The PDP candidate, joined by a member of the legal team, Chief Godi Uche SAN, and party chieftains, stormed the tribunal's secretariat at Isabo Magistrate Court premises in Abeokuta to formally file voluminous copies of the petition.
We have represented the people fairly, and the people have responded by voting fairly for us. In an election we believe we won.
A support group for the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State is asking the National Working Committee of the party to immediately dissolve the state chapter of the Executive Committee to save the APC from total collapse in the state. Addressing a press conference in Port Harcourt, President of the group, Mr. Lucky Otos, notes that the recent division among the state executive members of the APC in the state is not good for the party. The group is also warning against the breakdown of law and order in the state following disagreements over the inspection of electoral materials.
We call on the security agencies within the state to be vigilant, considering the recklessness of some retired politicians and immediate invitation of those spearheading the unrest of our dear state.
Those are the political roundup stories for today. It's back to you, Sean.
Thank you so much, everyone. There you have it. You've been served with your political roundup stories. Let's get talking first on our first topic for tonight, and it's about the Labour Party. Which leadership is now in some kind of turmoil. Some members of the National Working Committee yesterday took over the National Secretariat in Abuja, where they held an emergency National Working Committee meeting on the current state of the party. The members, led by Mr. Lamidi Apapa, who is the Deputy National Chairman South of the party, says he is now the acting National Chairman, while Mr. Saleh Walawan is declared the acting National Secretary of the party. However, Mr. Julius Abure, the chairman, National Chairman of the party, says he remains the leader of the party, as, according to him, a court of competent jurisdiction has equally giving an order barring any official of the party from suspending Mr. Abure as the National Chairman. Mr. Abure says the actions of the Lamidi-led team is illegal, which was why it resorted to the use of thugs and security officers to take over the National Secretariat of the party. An action, he says, is temporary, as a set of officers are not known to law. So let's get some perspectives on this one now. So there are a lot of talks about what is happening in the Labour Party and what could have caused this division that we're seeing. Tonight on the program, I'm being joined by two officials of the party, although there are disagreements on who is who in the party. But I have with me the National Legal Advisor of the Labour Party, Mr. Oyelekon Akingbade. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we have joining us virtually Mr. Kennedy Hanotu, who is the National Youth Leader of the Labour Party. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. For those who may try to wrap their heads around, I know Mr. Akingbade here is in support of the Lamidi Apapa led interim leader of the party, and of course Mr. Kennedy is of the Abure faction of the party. So let's get talking. Is it true that you and your colleagues led thugs to take over the party yesterday?
Well, that is not correct. As a matter of fact, the members of the National Working Committee, which happens to be one of them, my capacity as a National Legal Advisor, decided to have our meeting, National Working Committee meeting, at the party secretariat. No talks, nothing. We went in, we addressed the press after the meeting, and we came up with resolutions. And the resolution there was appointing Alhaji Lamidi Bashir Apapa as the acting national chairman. Now, the reason is simple. There is a vacuum created by the orders of the FCT High Court. Now, there are two court orders here. The first one...
And they are conflicting.
No, they are not conflicting. They are very straight, very different. Now, I'll talk about the one from the FCT.
The fact and issue for those two, are they the same?
No, they're not the same. And that's one thing I want Nigerians to know, to be aware of. Right? I will not sit here to deceive Nigerians, to deceive people. No. The court order from the FCT was as a result of the forgery committed by Abure and co.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Committed by them.
It's still in front of the court
allegedly committed by them.
Yeah.
And what was this? Signatures of candidates were forged, court affidavit forged, court seal forged, oath, commissioner for oaths stamp was also forged, and they packaged all this together, sent to INEC.
To do what?
To change the candidate. A candidate who had already emerged from the primary.
Which candidate is this?
This is Mr. Eze Oko, the governorship candidate of Labour Party in Ebonyi State. And his lawyers petitioned the Inspector General of Police. They requested for documents from INEC. INEC furnished the police with the documents. And it was discovered that those documents were forged. Why? The police also conducted forensic analysis of those documents. And it was discovered that the documents were forged. On that basis, the police came up with their report indicting the officers of the party. And that snowballed into the court order in FCT High Court. Now, the issue before the FCT High Court was simple. Whether, with all these allegations, Abure and co. can still be parading themselves as officers of the party. Now, the court, in its wisdom, now said, oh, you have to step aside. Restrain the national chairman. The court restrained him.
As an ex-party?
Yes.
The order was an ex-party order.
Yes.
That means in the absence of the other party, that the court granted them so that there won't be any injury on the party that appeared before the court.
Yes.
So that was the position of the court.
Yes.
But that of the Benin High Court, what did it say?
All right.
So because you said there is a different one.
Yes, they're different. Now, the Benin order was hurriedly procured by Abure. And the reason was the ward ESCO member suspended him from his ward. And he rushed to court to say, oh, court, please stop the action. Why? The action that been taken, that they've done already. The suspension was already done. He rushed to court, please prevent them from suspending me or from...
It's seeking protection.
Yes.
But is there anything wrong in that?
No, there's something wrong because the action was already done. They have done the action. Now, you didn't go to court to say, oh, please prevent them from suspending me. They have done the action already. You don't went to court. And do you know what the court said? The court said, oh, don't suspend or don't remove Abure. That was the order of the court. Now, the order of the court is different from that of the FCT. The FCT is talking about the forged document. In the light of all those forgery, can you still continue to...
You know where the conflict is coming is that because the FCT High Court is saying, in the light of the fact presented before the court, Abure and the rest step aside, suspended from your activity, and stop parading yourself. But the other court is saying, don't suspend him. So that's where the conflict is coming from, isn't it?
Shehu, there is no conflict there. The Abuja court restrained him. Don't function in this capacity for now until we look into this.
The remedy that he was seeking, it was that I don't want to be suspended.
No.
But the implication of the order of the FCT High Court is you are hereby suspended. Don't be paraded.
No.
It's a suspension of your activity.
No.
Isn't
it? The suspension of activity is different from suspension from office. It's different. Now, here...
Technical different.
I'm telling you.
All right, just hold on. Let me bring in Mr. Kennedy into this conversation. What is going on in your party? Because what we are saying now, there seems to be a lot of division as to what is going on, who is behind this, what exactly are the issues, who is doing what, and what exactly is going on within the rank and file of your party. Mr. Kennedy, if you're with us and you can hear me. It seems that we're having some glitches in connection with Mr. Kennedy. As soon as we're able to get him back, definitely we will get him back into the conversation. But look, there are a lot of talks as in respect of what is happening in your party. How fast is it that all of this is escalating? Because elections happen. I mean, it does look like those who are predicted that your party is going to be hit by a wave of crisis. They were right in their predictions.
Well, as a matter of fact, yes, we have some itches. It's not crisis per se. For me, it's just some itches. Now, but what we're saying is, there's been so many speculations as to the fact that, some APC are involved, opposition PDP are involved. No! We are just trying to sanitize the party. And how? For those who will come to AQT must come with clean hands. We cannot continue to involve in forgery for a party that we are selling.
These are the document, isn't it? This is the Federal High Court. This is the order of the Federal High Court. So this is between Martins Ezekwalu John and other claimants against Mr. Julius Abure, Umar Farouk, and others. So this is the court order.
That's the court order.
So is this where this is the ex parte order also? It's the same document of the court, isn't it? So this is the allegation is in the realm of a criminal offense.
Purely criminal offense. Purely. And we need to be careful, Sheo, because Labour Party is putting out a new narrative out there. What Peter Obi has brought to Labour Party is total sanity, integrity, capacity, competence. That's what Peter Obi has brought to Labour Party. We've never had it so good. As a matter of fact, for a man who has brought so much virtues to the party, we need to stand up to do the right thing. The right thing is we must follow the ideology of Peter Obi. For many of us, Peter Obi we are already indoctrinated by Peter Obi's beliefs to do things rightly. And that's why we said, for the chairman and co who involved in forging documents for a party who is
allegedly.
Yes, alleged for documents. We are now saying, the police report confirmed the forgery. We also wrote to the FCT chief registrar, who replied, I said, those documents were forged. So we need to be careful. If you are telling Nigerians that we want a new Nigeria, we want to do things differently, then we must be seen to be doing things differently. But what the party is saying is, we want to stand tall. We want to do the needful. And that was why the National Working Committee, and Shehu, let me also let you know that in the National Working Committee, we were 18. We lost the Vice National Chairman, North Central. 2 were illegally suspended. I presided over the disciplinary committee, and we made recommendations to the National Working Committee for onward transmission to NEC. And remember, NEC is the only organ of the party that can validate suspension.
Let me take you up on this. Mr. Lamidi Apapa, he was said to have been removed from the party since 2014. And now he's found his way back, according to some sections of your party, that this man is now being a member of the party, and suddenly he's found his way back. And there are those who believe that you and your colleagues are being sponsored by another party to cause this in the Labour Party. Why?
Sure. Alhaji Lamidi Apapa rose from the ranks. He was state chairman, Labour Party in Oyo State. After his tenure, he became the vice national chairman, Southwest. Thereafter, he was elevated as deputy national chairman. So all along he's been with us in the party. We've been together all along.
But was he expelled in 2014?
At all.
What about the disciplinary action taken against him in 2014?
No. There was no disciplinary action. There was nothing. This is lies from the pit of hell. Now, and this is the narrative, negative narrative that Abure is used, to parade everywhere. Now, Lamidi Apapa has never been suspended, has never been expelled. He has been a committed, faithful member of Labour Party all along. And remember, he served with Daniwaya as state chairman of your state. Served with A.A. Salam of blessed memory, my boss, as vice national chairman, who at the Akwanga convention promoted him, and people voted in the convention where he became the deputy national chairman. All along he's been in the party. Nothing of disciplinary action against him. He has never. This is a man with clean records, a committed Muslim. I'm a Christian, but this man is different. Stand out.
But there are others in your party who also said, look, this man has been found in cahoots with some other political party, that in fact he worked for another political party ahead of the election.
That was all correct. As a matter of fact,
what role did he play, if you say it's not correct, in the 2023 election in your party?
Of course he worked for our party. I'm talking about in his capacity as the deputy national chairman Labour Party. He worked for the party.
What role did he play?
Of course.
Can you mention places that he was found, things that he did, specific things that he did? Because those who say the timeline between Papa's foot map and the map in the party is not found between 2014 and now. All of a sudden, he's been sponsored. Those are the allegations from inside of your party that the man's map has been non-existent up until now.
For you to claim that a man has not been in existence and he has been consistent as state chairman, move as vice national chairman Southwest, and let me tell you, in 2018, he led the delegation of those who conducted primaries in Osun State. He was there. Now, he was also in Akwanga, where the mandate was renewed. That is the Akwanga Convention.
What year was this?
Our last convention was in 2018.
So I'm talking about this very election. Can you tell Nigerians the things that Apapa did in the party, specific things? In your party, you would have known. You can say on so date, these are the things that I did, these are the things that I did, these are the things that I did. What can you say Lamidi Apapa did in your party at those times?
For the election in Oyo State, our candidate in Oyo State is Taufik Akinwale. Lamidi Apapa worked with all the structure of the party in that state, mobilized for him. They went to campaign all the nooks and crannies of the state, which, of course, Labour Party did not win the election, but he played a major role in putting the house together, in bringing members together. Now, I attended one of the meetings. As a matter of fact, the declaration of Taufik Akinwale, I attended in Ibadan. I was in Ibadan for his declaration. Of course, Apapa mobilized seriously to make sure that we have a wonderful election.
Let me hear from Mr. Kennedy now. Thank God that you're back to the conversation, and I hope that you heard a few of the things that are going on. You've heard some of the allegations against Mr. Abure, the issue of forgery, and the manner in which things have gone under him as the national chairman of the party. How do you react to some of these issues?
Thank you, Sean. Let me once again join you in wishing Nigerians happy Easter in advance and Good Friday, to be specific. I'm happy to have Akimbade in your studio. And one thing I'm very happy is that Akimbade is somebody accusing another person of forgery. We will come to that. But as far as I'm concerned, Sheun, if you are trying to correct illegality, you cannot use illegality to correct illegality. For example, if there needs to be a national working committee, if actually we need to have a national working committee. Are they not supposed to be noticed? Such notice, who should it have come from? Peradventure, for assuming we don't have a national chairman and we need to cover up that space, who should convene such a meeting?
So you were not notified?
Pardon?
You were not notified of the NWC meeting?
I am asking Akimbade if I'm a member of the National Working Committee. National Working Committee has a platform. There is a WhatsApp platform where we drop our communications in case you can't send text messages to everybody. Ask Akimbade if there's any notification for NWC meeting, emergency meeting. Ask Akimbade if anybody called me on phone with respect to the NWC meeting. And this same can be said of many other members of NWC meeting. Shehun, I know you as a respected journalist. Ask Akimbade who nominated somebody that is answering the acting national chairman. How many members of the NWC nominated them? I can only call this a desperate attempt to hijack the collective interests of Nigerians. I've never seen such a desperation in my life. As a youngest person in that National Working Committee, I was expecting people like Akimbade to show example. The moment you said you are convening an NWC meeting, are you not supposed to drop it on the WhatsApp platform? Why the haste? They came to the party office, broke in as about 4:30 in the evening, and entered, gained unlawful entry into the Labour Party National Secretariat, and then nominated themselves and voted themselves into office. As far as I'm concerned, there is no infighting in the Labour Party. If there's a court injunction, yes, there's another court injunction. And as far as I know, in law, I'm not a lawyer, but when there is a conflicting court injunction, status quo have to be maintained. So the lawyer there in the studio with you, who went to law and was called to bar, doesn't he know that? Julius Abure, as far as I know, is the national chairman of Labour Party. And even if there is a case of any form against him, that is not the process in which Julius Abure will be removed. And that is why some of us that are members of the NWC feel that this is simply a desperate attempt by some group of people that feel that Nigeria will remain the same. Akimbade that is calling Abure somebody that is caught under forgery. Ask Akimbade if he has never tendered apology for forgery in the party. Was there no due process in sanctioning him? Was NWC convened and suspended him and pushed him out of the party? The party have an internal conflict resolution mechanism. And at every point in time, it shouldn't be a desperate move. It should be a sit-down discussion. And people will say their mind and we collectively agree on what to move.
All right.
Just
a moment. I will allow Mr. Akimbade to respond to some of the things that you've said. And if my colleagues in the control room can bring back the compendium of some of the forged document which are alleged that Mr. Abure had involved himself in, maybe you will be able to respond to it. Now, based on these issues that emanate from Ebonyi and some of the litany of forged documents that have now surfaced that the national chairman is allegedly involved in, how do you react to that?
I don't have that document with me, and I'm not reading what you are putting on the screen very clearly. And as far as I know, if there is any court issue against the national chairman, we should discuss it. And I'm not saying this because I love the national chairman so much, but the process of anything against him, and national chairman, whatever he does, he is doing it in the capacity of the party, not as an individual. But I see that this is a desperate attempt by people who feel that this man have driven this process to a point where we are. And everybody knows that our presidential candidates and the party have gone to court. And to me, as far as I know, why will Akimbade be an interested party in a party affair? This is a matter that should be affecting the party, not a matter that should be affecting Abure. Why are they fighting Abure? Why is Akimbade concocting all manner of things and handing it up.
So what do you suspect, Kennedy, just remember, what do you suspect is going on really?
What exactly is going on is that Akimbade has Akimbade is not happy. We did excellently in this election. And Akimbade is fighting tooth and nail to make sure that the effort of Nigerians and obedience are thwarted.
Okay, let me allow... yeah, just for a moment. Let me allow... because there has been a lot of allegations that whatever is happening in your party is being sponsored from the outside, and that the storm... What evidence do you have to that effect? And who are the people that you think are behind all of this?
The evidence is one. If nobody is drawing up some music for these guys, I wonder why they will be desperate and hasty to break into a... Okay, today is public holiday. There won't be any official activity going on. No document need to be signed. Tomorrow is Saturday. Next tomorrow is Sunday. Monday is public holiday. Why didn't they take time and call for NWC meeting on Tuesday, where every member of the National Working Committee will be in attendance? They called that meeting, too. They called on that meeting, Arabambi, former publicity secretary, is somebody that we know. We knew him, we saw pictures of him, you know, endorsing the Ogun State governorship candidate then, and playing all manner of role in the campaign of the APC in Ogun State. The same man has been recalled back by this unlawful conveyance of the NWC, as they did on yesterday. They brought him back into their fold, brought back a suspended national leader, where him, Akimbade, was part of the disciplinary committee.
All right, Kennedy, just for a moment, let me bring Mr. Akimbade back into conversation. There are a few things that is said. I'd like you to clear. Have you also been involved in forgery? Did you at some point apologize?
I've never been involved in forgery. Never. Never in my career. Now, let me educate...
was there any point in time that you had to apologize for your action in the party?
Yes, I did. And what happened?
What did you do wrong?
All right, I never did anything wrong. What happened was some group of persons, lovers, fans, supporters of Peter Obi in Texas, in United States, called my attention to the fact that, there is a need for them to organize a group together to work for Peter Obi in Texas, in United States. Oh, the Peter Obi project is our project. The Peter Obi project is what we key into. In fact, I erected billboards for Peter Obi in my state, my money. I erected billboards to support him. I mobilized within my capacity to support Peter Obi in my state. Now, what happened was, I gave a letter. I gave an authority a letter from my office of the National Legal Advisor, to those people. You can have a meeting, a group together, to come together, support Peter Obi as far as that place is concerned. And that was exactly what happened. Now, he talks about the fact that he did not receive notice to the meeting. I beg to differ. The person responsible for sending such notices happens to be the National Secretary, who is also involved in this restraining order. It shows that there is a vacuum. There are two deputies, Alhaji Saleh Lawal and Kennedy. Now, I wonder why Kennedy is saying he's the national youth leader. No, Kennedy was asked to act pending the time that when Eragbiaslen was suspended. I presided over that's disciplinary committee. We wrote a recommendation to the National Working Committee to be adopted and sent to NEC. The party never called NEC. Julius Abure is not used to calling that kind of meeting. And for NEC is the only organ empowered to ratify such to ratify such suspension. That has not been done. Was there anything? So, now, he also talked about the fact that he did not receive notice. Notices were sent by Alhaji Saleh Lawal. All right? For those who conveyed at the meeting, they came. Some did not come because they have their rope tied to Abure's illegality. And one of them is Kennedy.
Where do you go from here? How do you resolve? Because for those supporters of Peter Obi and Labour Party are thinking that this is being orchestrated to pull down the party. And you are, your other friends have been fingered in all of this, saying that you are the ones orchestrating the fall of the party and the obedient structure that you have within the Labour Party. Where do you go from here, and how do you resolve this issue?
Shell, if you have a house well built, we have a room comfortable there, will you go out to be begging to stay in someone else's house? No. The Labour Party is home for us. Peter Obi is our leader. Peter Obi is the one God used to bring the fortune to Labour Party. And that is why all of us are supporting Labour Party. The issues now has nothing to do with Peter Obi. Nothing. What we are saying now is they caught Abure and Co. forged documents. And we're saying that let's follow the issues. What are the issues? The police investigated, discovered that, yes, forgery was committed, and they wrote the report. The worst thing I've ever seen is a lawyer forging a court document. Court document.
All right. So let me allow Mr. Kennedy. Where do you go from here? How do you resolve all of this?
Well, Shehu, thank you so much. But he didn't respond to the question of what he did to have apologized. He shot it away. But that's no problem. And he said Saleh sent a text message. I would have wished this investigation, if we call Saleh and ask him if he even did send any text message to me. I called Saleh. I said, are you aware of what is happening? He told me he will call me back. Till this moment, Saleh is here to call me back. I know that this is a cue that they just perfected, but it's not going to work. The way forward, Shehu, is one. What they have done is a nullity. It is not going to stand anywhere. If anything had to happen, the whole house must attend. And if you look at our party constitution, no matter the circumstance, no matter the condition, Article 17, removal from offices, the national chairman of the party may be suspended or removed only by 2/3 majority of the national convention. So the national chairman of our party cannot just be removed by 6 persons in a room. This is why Nigeria has remained where it is.
The constitution is making reference to, I drafted the constitution. I'm the drafter of that constitution. And let me tell you one thing. The issue at hand has nothing to do with suspension or removal. That is why many of these people are not getting it correctly. The court restrained Abure. Vacuum was created. How do we fill the vacuum? Now, we have 15 National Working Committee members. 4 were restrained. The person who has capacity, the Deputy National Secretary, sent messages. 7 people gathered for him. We have formed a quorum. What we have done is right. We will not condone illegality.
Thank you so much.
But for us, we support Peter Obi absolutely all along.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akimbade, for joining us. And Mr. Kennedy, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. All right. Appreciate it, and I wish your party the very best. We'll take a break, everyone. We're looking at the unity of Nigeria, some of the tension that's been caused in the aftermath of the 2023 election. Professor Bolaji Akinyemi will be joining me next on the program, a former Foreign Affairs Minister. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. We're supposed to have Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, but due to some logistic and technical issues, we are unable to connect with him at the moment. But let's remind you of what happened yesterday, where former President Olusegun Obasanjo is advocating for reconciliation, moral realignment, and the assuaging of the youth population in order to ensure the healing of the country. Chief Obasanjo spoke at a book presentation in Abuja, where he said that the divisiveness which was made manifest in the recent general election manifested heavily, and it caused for caution, and there is going to be a need for healing and a national reconciliation that should be spearheaded by the incoming administration. Let me remind you of what the former president said yesterday.
Given what we saw during the elections, Nigeria is now even more divided and more corroded than we thought. This places a deep onus on any administration following the current one to urgently facilitate the process of national moral rearmament and national reconciliation, that the potential to enhance healing for aggrieved and bereaved persons across Nigeria and to assuage the youth. This must be done in sync with the imperative of national value reorientation that Nigeria requires to build a collective sense of enduring and noble values and national belonging.
All right, that's former President Olusegun Obasanjo was speaking at a book launch yesterday. But in all of the conversation that has generated these division along ethnic and religious lines, a lot of debate you see online and offline where Nigerians are sharply divided. You see even the workplace, people have conversations about their political differences and how they perceive things should be. But there's been a fundamental jolting in our national life. People who are now divided, and you see the kind of trolling and ethnic and religious division that we have seen. Just a day ago or so, we saw Chimamanda Adichie wrote to the U.S. President Biden about the outcome of the election. And we've heard Mr. Bayo Onanuga, who is one of the spokesperson of the president-elect and the APC-PCC responding, asking the president of the U.S. not to acknowledge the letter, the open letter written by Ms. Chimamanda Adichie. All of this conversation, you heard the position of Professor Wole Soyinka and on the matter of how things have gone in our nation. How did we get here? How do we get out of this circumstance or this situation? Where do we go from here? Because in the real sense of things, election is not all about us. I mean, Nigeria is not all about election. We have so much more than elections and politics. So we have a life to live, we have a nation to run, we have a government that should steer the affairs of the nation, and we need to focus on getting this nation to work. And these are some of the conversation that needs to be for Nigerians to engage in. And beyond that, the judiciary has been brought into all of this. There are conversations around the Section 136 of the Constitution, the Section 229 of the Constitution. Where does the court stand? What is the position of the law? The result of the election, who gets what, and exactly how should the court adjudicate on this matter. Don't forget that the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal has received some of the petitions, and some, the winner in the case, and INEC have been petitioned, and in a couple of days, we'll be seeing what will happen and how all of this will go. A few days ago, I showed you what the law says in respect of the timeline of pursuing a legal action on an election outcome or election result, which fundamentally tells us that the window of when a petitioner can file his case in court and when that case can be entertained, and of course, after what happened, they can take the case to the Supreme Court. These are some of the issues that are being generated. But we're having conversation around how the judiciary has been involved, the debate over the judiciary and how the judiciary may be involved in this. My next guest will be discussing this with us. But we take a breather, everyone. And when we come back, we look at the division, the judiciary in Nigeria, and how we need to get out of what has become a major tension in the land. Stay with me, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone. I have joining me from London, Kaode Ajulo, a very senior lawyer. Thank you so much, Mr. Ajulo, for joining us tonight on the program.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Yeah,
there's been a lot of debate and a lot of dragging the judiciary into the arena between what has happened in the aftermath of the election. Let me get your take first and foremost on what has happened, the tension that has been created out of this election?
Well, you should know one thing, that when it comes to election and the way our procedure is, after election, you'll find out that the judiciary will be the recourse where everybody will go. That's why we said the judiciary is the last hope of common man. Now, judiciary seems to be the last hope of politician. And as it is, all the rat matters, all the noise, all the lies, the soapbox now seem to be shifted to the court. And it's expected that what is being done then seems to be on the judiciary. And that's why you see today, any politician, their misfortune, their gains seem to lie with the judiciary. So we should not be surprised the way they are being badged. And some of us, we are worried, particularly as a lawyer, that this is not what it is. The judiciary will only determines what the case you brought before them. And they should not be subject of ridicule. They should not be subject where anybody today, you can see the way they are calling them out. You can see the way they are sharing their picture, their profile, and even some people were even saying they should call them, they should call them on their phone, they should shame them. And we believe that one should not be. And that is why to some of us, we are happy with what some group are saying recently, that they are going to ensure that any lawyers that should do this cyberbullying, trying to disparage the justices, will be met with discipline. And I think we need to thank them for that. And they are saying that others who are not lawyers, their names will be taken to the law enforcement agency to be dealt with. I think our judiciary has to be respected, has to be protected. And all the lies of the fact that the corruption is going, my position is this: whosoever you found wanting in the area of corruption, call him out, let them be dealt with, but not that you put everybody under the same umbrella and to say that judiciary, they are corrupt. I don't think that's what it is. And the politician has to be warned. All those who are sponsoring those people to harass, to intimidate, to our judiciary, I think they have to stop. And like I said, all eyes are on them, then they'll be there with.
Now, so, why do you think that this bashing of the judiciary is happening in the first place? I imagine that the judiciary is supposed to be giving its pride of place in our society and in our electoral and political system as one place, the arena where everybody runs for cover.
Well, this reason is not far-fetched. Like I said, this is the time for politics. As of now, the time for soapbox for campaign is over. The election is over. Now, what remains now is that most of the politicians believe that their gains or their loss reside with the judiciary. The only thing they need to do is to center on them, override them, abuse them, harass them, intimidate them, blackmail them, both emotional blackmail, physical blackmail, lie against them. As it is today, the center, everybody is focused on them. And politicians with their ways, they tell lies, they say this, they do that, just to have their way. And they believe it is a campaign continue to do this to judiciary. And I believe it is our duty to ensure that this never happens. Like I do tell people, you go to court every day, there are a lot of cases our court has been doing. There are a lot of cases they've been dispensing with. You never hear any noise. But when it comes to political cases, that is when hell will be let loose, even to the point that some people are even reporting them as if we don't know what we are doing. The independence of judiciary is telling them that there is this rumor that they'll be banned from traveling out of the country, that some countries will stop them. And it is some people writing different petitions, calling the Department of State everywhere to say so person should not be allowed to come to your country. And we are saying why? They have a duty to perform, and they are performing their duty. If you feel that you are not happy with it, you allow things to be, not that you bring down the whole house, you run down the entire judicial system of the country. And I think I will use this opportunity to call on the NBA, because I believe it's their duty to protect both the bench and the bar. And I think it is their duty to ensure that the right thing is done. We have the law in place. We know how to deal with this, but it's like everybody seems to sleep on their duties and their function, thinking that all is about politics. It should not be. After politics, we will still go back to court. We will still have a judiciary to go to. And I don't think because of politics, we need to run it down. And I think the best way they always do is that to accuse them of corruption. but we just don't accuse people of corruption without any fact. Present the fact. NGC have been doing wonderfully well. You can see the way they discipline themselves. I think that is the way it should be. Not that you now use the same paint to brush the entire judicial system to say they are corrupt. And it's so easy for anybody to believe that. And I believe all this thing must stop. And whosoever that is formed wanting must be dealt with. Either you are a lawyer or you are just a non-lawyer, they must be dealt with. There must be a way to respect constitutional authority. And that is what we're saying.
Mr. Ajulo, I thought that there is a self-cleansing mechanism within the judiciary for those who have the fear that they might not be done right by the judiciary in the cases under petition that have been brought before the court. I thought that there are ways by which one can seek redress even when you don't think that the judiciary will do the right thing. Is there a way? Because those who are having, people who have the liberty and the freedom to think in the way they want to think, in the sense that if they sense that they won't get justice, don't they have the right to have that perspective?
No, you know, one thing is that the mechanism is there. The National Judicial Council has been there. Each time we hear about the ways social judges have been dealt with. Some are retired, some are suspended, some are asked to return money. The mechanism there, the way to self-cleansing is there. What matters most is that any judicial officer that is found wanting and you believe has done something, yours is to bring a petition to proper place. You lay the petition, and we can see that several times over, this petition has been attended to. Not that you go on the Facebook, you post a picture of a judge doing his daily job, you post of one, send it his name and profile and say, oh, everybody should be calling him. That is, we never bring the independence of judiciary. And I think we need to give it to the National Judicial Council. They've been doing wonderfully well. It is only in this country you learn that a judicial officer have been dealt with among all the three arms of government. The only arms of government that we know has been cleansing itself, has been reviewing itself, is the judiciary. How many times did you hear a minister being asked to resign in Nigeria? How many times do you see a minister being suspended? How many times do you see even a legislator that's in those in National Assembly, that's the legislative head that's been so disciplined? But judiciary, they've been doing that, and they need to be commended. And I believe it is those that never be, if you believe in the system, if you know you have the fact of any of the infraction of gross misconduct of any judicial officer, bring to the NJC. They've been doing wonderfully well, and I don't think...
Mr. Ajulo, I would in fact imagine how critical some Nigerians are now about the role of the judiciary in some of the processes. In fact, the number one citizen, as far as the judiciary is concerned, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, who is the chairman of the judiciary of Nigeria, has come under intense scrutiny. And those who imagine, there were some stories about maybe he traveled to meet a politician and he was sitting on a wheelchair, and those stories that came up, and eventually we saw his video leaving the office and going to the mosque. I mean, it's come to that point where the scrutiny is now so intense, even to the very highest personality in the judiciary.
Well, you know, the Chief Justice of Nigeria is the highest judicial officer in this country, and it's like a symbol of that judiciary. And for you to see that, for a man to have gone just for a medical trip abroad to be turned to something else, even to the point that senior lawyers in this country happen to be one of those that send those pictures. But when he saw that what he's doing is wrong, he apologized. The record are there, and because I believe he did that because of being a senior and well-known, others kept going, and it has been shown that all those were not just fallacy. All those issues they were talking about that he went, and even in the story that being perpetrated, you never see where it is alleged that he physically or he met the politician they are making. It is just like a congestion. It's a permutation. It's a speculation, and you can see how the man is so harassed. So I know, God forbid, he is harassed, but you can see their plan is to harass him to one way or the other, tarnish its image. But I think he has been able to do that. But you can now see, if they can go as far as going to look for the number one judicial officer in Nigeria, you can imagine the other justices. Several petitions fake spurious petition has been written against them, and we believe all this thing must stop. The right way to go about it is NJC as is there. NJC has been doing what it is. NJC has dealt with a chief judge in this country. NJC has dealt with both the judges at the lower court, at the trial court, at the appeal court, at the lower court, and at the Supreme Court. NJC has been doing that, and I don't think if you believe in the system, they need to do that. But to go unwholesomely to deal with them, we believe enough is enough. And I need to let you know that Nigerian lawyers are ready to defend them, because unfortunately, these judicial officers, by their station in life, by their office, cannot speak for themselves, cannot defend themselves, cannot come to the TV like the way I'm doing to say I did not do this. It is, and I believe we need to come together to arrest this situation.
Stay with me, Mr. Ajula. We'll take a breather. Those who are asking that the proceedings in the presidential election petition should be televised. I'd like to get your view on it. And perhaps this tension we're seeing in Nigeria, how do we douse it? Is the government, is the ruling party, is the opposition, are they doing the right thing as far as our nation is concerned and the interests of our people? Stay with me, everyone. Our conversation is next. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Mr. Kaudi Ajula is a senior lawyer, and he's been speaking with us virtually from London. Thank you so much, Mr. Ajula, for your time tonight. Let's get back to the tension that we're seeing in the land. I don't know if you heard what former President Olusegun Obasanjo said. For those who did not hear, let me allow you to listen to it, Mr. Ajula. I'd like to get your reaction to what he said in respect of the tension in the land and, of course, how we need to go about it, the role that the incoming government will have to play, their role in ensuring that Nigeria is united. Take a listen to what former President Olusegun Obasanjo said.
Given what we saw during the elections, Nigeria is now even more divided and more corroded than we thought. This places a deep onus on any administration following the current one to urgently facilitate the process of national moral rearmament and national reconciliation that the potential to enhance healing for aggrieved and bereaved persons across Nigeria and to assuage the youth. This must be done in sync with the imperative of national value reorientation that Nigeria requires to build a collective sense of enduring and noble values and national belonging.
Mr. Ajula, what do you think we need to do urgently? Coming from former President Olusegun Obasanjo, that our nation is very much divided.
Well, there is no saying in saying that Nigeria is not divided than where we are coming from. But why we have been having issue in trying to make a comment of what General Olusegun Obasanjo has said is that in this circumstance, particularly as it is, it seems to be an interested party, and we all know the side of the divide that it belongs to. So if one should now, on that premises, to discuss about him or whatever he's saying, I'm afraid I would not really like to do that. But generally, it is clear that after the election, some part and some group believe that this is not the way it is. And I believe what Nigeria needs is national reorientation. We need the opinion molder. Even up to now, I still expect the president, commander-in-chief, that's President Muhammadu Buhari, to address this issue as it is today. Some part of the country believe they are annihilated. Some part of the country believe that they are being persecuted, they are being harassed. And what all this are, though many people will say is a pocket of such issue happening, still it happens. And I believe there's a way to save the feeling of the people and to look for a way to reconcile the country. I believe Nigeria needs that now, and we need it urgently.
We saw I mean, I don't know if you have read the latest writing of Professor Wole Soyinka reacting to dissent and voice of dissent and the issues when people debate and how low people could go. And you heard, I don't know if you have also heard what Chimamanda Adichie, open letter that he wrote to the United States President Joe Biden, and the rebuttal from Mr. Bayo Onanuga. The conversation becomes a bit more unhealthy recently when people are fierce and people are now they're towing the lane hard. They are being hardline in their conversation and their criticism, and perhaps not allowing those who have different opinions to speak their minds without being trolled and insulted unnecessarily. This kind of scenario that is playing out in our country about our politics, what's your view on it?
Well, my view still remains the same, and I think you say it all. That as it is, by the time you look at what the Professor Wole Soyinka is saying, what the Chimamanda Adichie is saying, and what every other, most of them, they've taken side, and that's what makes that really is a demonstration of how divided we are in this country. As of today, I'm yet to see any speaker, those who are engaging the public and interrogating the political issue, that have been able to be objective. Everyone, and I must say with respect, I have very high respect for Professor Wole Soyinka. I have very high respect for Chidamanda. I have respect for General Olusegun Obasanjo. I have all these people, that they've taken side. They speak not from the position of objective. They speak from the position of being subjective. They are just trying to marshal their interests, and that's why it's so unfortunate. I think as of now, what Nigeria needs is we need a voice of conscience, voice of reason, impartial voice that we say it as it is. And that is why I'm saying this, that we cannot deny the fact that Nigeria is more divided, and it is expected. I remember in 2003, the time of General Juku and Obasanjo and Buhari, the same thing happened. If you remember 2011, it was even worse than this. This is when the followers of General Buhari were burning houses all over. We shouldn't be grateful that this side of the obedient, or whatever name we call them, they kept agitating, but they have yet to take to street and burning houses of what happened in 2011. And only in 2015, when President Jonathan accepted that, yes, I accepted defeat, Buhari won. That's why we didn't see what we are seeing now. At the end of every election, and never sometimes we always ask that the loser should congratulate the winner. Once that has happened, you will see that the whole thing has that house. But unfortunately,
can a loser congratulate a winner when they've gone to court to challenge the outcome of the election?
Well, but the consequence of that is what we are seeing when election is squarely lost, as it is today, because I still ask myself how the articles of this word and Obi will say they win an election, where are they supposed to be united? One thing we should know is this. Many people do tell me that the person announced return as president-elect is unpopular, and I agree it's unpopular because as it is, he only scored 37% of the entire. So I mean that 63%, are they being that those that oppose him come together the way we saw it in 2014-15 when General Buhari, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Kwankwaso, Atiku, and all those people come together? We won't have had this kind of problem. But I think the follower need to know the dynamics of this election, need to know the vote is distributed. And even that they come together, they won't have this problem. Unfortunately, it is after election, it's now done on them that they want to come together and start addressing public. It is so obvious who won this election. By the constitutional provision, is so obvious. But whatever they say, they call it, the winner has emerged. It's expected that they need to heed the wound. The governments that conduct its election, that's President Muhammadu Buhari, need to come out fully with a statement to assure the feeling of the people. And I believe the losers need to be told that 2027 is close by. They need to put their resources together to go all out and to ensure that they are united and win an election. But if they want to go on in making all these things, I don't think it will not go well for the country.
Let's wrap up the conversation on this note. Those who are asking for a televised proceeding of the presidential election petition, do you think that will happen? And if it's been granted by the court, to what effect would that be on the process?
Well, I want to believe that it can happen. And I say this with the fact that, yes, as a lawyer, I know that the court proceeding is not televised for several reasons. But we have been told that the election petition is sui generis, a class on its own. And we need to know the interest election petition has been generating. So I think Nigeria need to be sure of what it is. And mind you, the last presidential election at the Court of Appeal was the only part that was televised was during when the judgment is given. The judgment was so long that many people slept off, even some lawyers slept off. But I believe, and one of the reasons why I believe that this proceeding need to be televised is to assuade the people. Many people has been coming with their different version, but if the whole world can see what happened, then to be. Let me give you an example. The matter in Imo State that brought in Opus Odima. Till today, I've seen many people, when you ask them what happened, the only thing they will be able to tell you is that somebody that placed fourth was made to be the governor. But forgetting that Supreme Court, when determining the matter, many issues many people is determined. For example, the issue of the Commissioner of Police of the states, his statement, uncontroverted statement, it is one of those things that made the Supreme Court to return Opus Odima. Nobody, I've seen many people discussing on national TV talking about they never raised the issue, and nobody till today ever blamed the Commissioner of Police. Because when an issue comes from authority of so and is not controverted, it is the duty of the court to accept it. And for the court to accept that and for making the Opus Odima the governor of Imo State, nobody discussed that. So what I'm expecting is this. By the time we all were glued to our TV, we can see what was discussed, what was not discussed, and we can be so sure of what's being said. And I think that one will assuage the people's mind. Nigeria are interested in this election. They're interested in who governed them. And I must be sincere. In the courtroom, it is part of that process. And Nigeria need to, like I preach accountability, I preach transparency. For this issue to be put at rest, for Nigerians to know who is their president, I think they need to hear it, take a live proceeding, let the whole world know. So nobody will tell you any spin story or nobody will deceive you or lie to you that this is what happened in court. I think the leadership of the judiciary should think of this, and if possible, they should allow it at least to assuage people's mind.
Kaudi Ajula, a very senior lawyer, thank you so much indeed for your thought tonight. I appreciate it. And let me allow you to go enjoy the rest of your Easter celebration. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Well, everyone, it's Good Friday. For our friends who are Muslims who are preparing for the Ramadan prayers and break of fast, I wish you the very best in this season and do enjoy. Let's reunite as a people. So much division and rancor all over the place. Let's share love, everyone. Nigeria belongs to all of us. God bless Nigeria, everyone. Goodbye.